So welcome everyone. My name is Janelle. I'm co-founder of Mindful Nurses with Claudia. And we wanted to put together this series to celebrate Nurses Week. Today, celebrating Nurses Day with a bunch of good self-care practices. We've been having yoga and meditation. And now today we have a beautiful session on eating, which is such an important part of our self-care. And we're so excited to have Eugenia with us. Before I introduce Eugenia, I'd just love to meet everyone here. If you just want to share your name and where you're coming from and maybe what you love about nursing. If you're a nurse, what you love about being a nurse, or if you're not a nurse, what you love about nurses as we celebrate Nurses Day today. So we can start with Sherry. Welcome, Sherry.
Hey ladies, how are you?
I'm sorry. Was I supposed to tell you something about me?
Yeah, where you're from, what brings you here today, or what you love about nurses, just to celebrate nursing.
I can definitely tell you that. So my name is Sherry. I'm from Long Island, New York. And what brings me here today? Well, Eugenia brings me here today because I love her, everything about her, and she's amazing as a person, a wonderful person, and is, I know she takes her profession to her heart, and she is just, the profession couldn't be more lucky enough to have somebody who's so smart like she is. And in my job, I'm a principal of a school for children with special needs. So I work very closely with the nursing profession. We do have a whole clinic at our school. So I deal with all doctors and nurses and psychiatrists. So couldn't do my job without the nurses that I'm surrounded with every day. So right now with what's going on, thank you to all of you for all the wonderful work that you are doing. And every night at 8 o'clock on Long Island, we go out and we clap and sing for all you guys, for all you do. So thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much for coming. Nice to meet you. Alina, welcome.
Thank you. So as Eugenia said, it's my daughter. She is my daughter, and obviously I love her. And it was one of the dreams that my kids would become doctor or nurse or something in medical field, because it's something we dream, and sometimes or most of the time dreams come true. And so my daughter is a nurse practitioner, which is I'm extremely happy, and I think this profession really suits her. And she's caring, and she cares about her patients, and she cares about the whole family. And she keeps telling us, "Oh, you guys do this right. You don't do this right." So she keeps check on us all the time, and we appreciate that, because when someone cares about you, it's a good thing, right? So, and my future extended family, Sherry. So I do support what she said, is that we really appreciate what everybody, nurses, doctors, and everybody in medical field do right now. And they're so brave. I don't know if I can be brave. I guess that's why I'm not in medical field. But I really appreciate, and I'm really excited to hear what Eugenia will show today. And I'm from California, so sunny California. Thank you.
Welcome, Alina. Wow, so beautiful to have the family here today. Thank you so much for coming. It's wonderful. And Dana, welcome.
Hi, hello everyone. It's first time meeting you guys. Thanks for putting together this series. It's been really cool. I'm Dana. I'm from Colorado. I'll be on mute probably most of the time because I got 2 fur kiddos that like to play really loud. I mainly work PACU. It's been a little interesting for this quarantine time though. But I found, I don't even know, in a Facebook group, I found this series, and I have been more curious about plant-based diet. So thank you, Eugenia, for coming on and having this little section. I'm excited to learn more. And I really love, as far as nurses go, I got a lot of nurses in my family, a lot of friends, of course. And I just love, like, even something like this, the creativity that nurses bring to not only the profession, but to other people, just to help each other, like lift each other up and live well, is awesome. And I love that.
Cool. Welcome, Dana. So nice to have you. And Sharon.
She seems to be on mute.
Yeah. Claudia, can you unmute Sharon maybe? Or Sharon, if you can, you should see a mic in the bottom left corner.
I'm clicking on mute, but it's not.
Oh,
Oh, there I did.
Okay, can you guys hear me?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, hey Sharon.
Okay, perfect. Hey, so my name is Sharon, and I'm based in Houston, and I'm here because I want to learn more about plant-based diet. I already eat a plant-based diet, so I just wanted to get, I guess, more recipes and ideas. And I work closely with nurses because I'm an OBGYN, so I deliver babies, and I love the nurses that I work with. So this is just a better way to get, I guess, a different view of nurses with the wellness series that's going on, which I love.
Hey, thanks for coming back, Sharon. It's great to see you out in nature with your kids.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Right. And Claudia, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, so I'm Claudia. I am a family nurse practitioner. I was last working in dementia care, and yeah, I love nurses. I have other nurse friends. It's funny because nurses see so many crazy situations, see crazy things in the hospital, like a lot more than many people can handle, but still they have a great sense of humor and they take things lightly, and they're just able to keep going, and they persevere a lot. And really, I feel like they don't really need a lot of like appreciation and things like that. I just think that profession itself is rewarding. I know when I'm working as a nurse, even if I just help one person and they're like so appreciative, I'm like, that just like totally makes my day, you know, just seeing like how much impact you can make with patients and caregivers, just like really listening to their needs and really genuinely trying to help them out. So that's why I'm in nursing. And I'm excited to learn about some foods that we can eat to help boost our immunities, prevent us from getting coronavirus, and just live a healthy lifestyle through food, because prevention is the key really to a lot of different diseases, eating well. So it's something to incorporate in our lives. Thanks for being here, Eugenia.
Thanks, Claudia. And yeah, like I said, I'm Janelle. I really resonate with what Claudia said about nursing is just such a rewarding profession. And I feel today on Nurses Day, I was thinking I'm not working clinically right now, but nursing to me is so much more than just a job and a career. It actually feels like it's part of my identity and who I am. And yeah, I started nursing when I was 16, working as a certified nursing assistant in a nursing home. And I still remember all of those patients I had 20 years ago, and like their stories, their faces, their everything. And I cared about them so much. And all of my patients throughout my career working in the ER and then later doing more public health related work, it's just such a rewarding profession, both for the patients that we get to interact with in their most tender and vulnerable and raw states, and to see the depths of human suffering and also the heights of our resilience. It's just such an inspiring, I think, inspiring position to be in. And I'm really proud to be a nurse, and I really am grateful for this community that we're together right now to celebrate nurses, to celebrate this career that we have, this calling that we have, that opportunity to be a part of and to support one another. So it's great to be here with you today, and I'm super happy to welcome Eugenia. Eugenia and I went to nurse practitioner school together at Columbia, and I've been following her ever since, and just so inspired by everything she's sharing about plant-based eating. And I also have a public health background like Eugenia, and so I really am inspired by providers who are really promoting public health, promoting prevention. It's so important, and eating is such a big part of prevention, preventing illness and disease, and keeping us healthy. And it's something I love to do in my life, is eat plant-based. I'm also excited for myself to learn more recipes from Eugenia. I'm always following her Instagram and getting more recipes. So excited to have her here today and to share with us all of her wisdom and beautiful plant-based foods with us. So I'll turn it over to Eugenia. Welcome, Eugenia.
Thank you. What a warm introduction. So I think more than half of you guys have met me. Dana and Sharon, nice to meet you guys as well. Like Janelle said, my name is Eugenia. I'm a family nurse practitioner, and I'm working in the Bronx. I resonate everything with what you guys said, that I just love the combination of nurses, preventative model, along with just like one of the hardest working professions that I've been able to witness, obviously because I work with nurses and I am a nurse practitioner, but it just is every day. So it makes me so happy to work in my job, and I feel fulfilled every day. And I love that I get to educate patients, and the nursing profession really brings that to the table more than a lot of the other professions in medicine. And although I've met plenty of other providers that are the same, but nurses really, I feel like, teach the rest about it, and it makes me really happy and proud, like Janelle said, to be a nurse as well. So again, thank you, Janelle and Claudia, for putting this on. I know this is the last day, and this has been such a wonderful experience because along with nutrition that we'll talk about, your stress level is also a really big impact on your immunity. That's evidence-based, proven through science. So regardless of how you get your stress down, it's really great that you guys have given us other modalities to do that. Some I've never even heard of, some I'd heard of and was curious about. So it's definitely doing a valid, scientifically evidence-based thing to reduce your stress level during this time and during any time to improve your immunity. Today is talk about something that's very dear to my heart, which is talking about plant-based medicine, plant-based preventative nutrition. And that's because I feel like it is one of the biggest things that we can do, biggest impacts we can do, other than, like I said, reducing your stress. And then the other piece is having enough sleep. So really excited to talk about why plant-based, eating more plant-based is really great for your immunity. And then I also want to leave you guys with some practical information about how you can, if you're not already plant-based, or if you are and you want to, get more recipes, just some little ways to move towards eating a little bit more plant-based. And so hopefully you guys learn at least one thing or have a new idea of how to eat something else plant-based after this talk, then my mission will be accomplished. So first, let's talk about plant-based diets. So since the 1930s, we've actually already known and proven that the more plant-based people eat, the less cancer, heart disease, and diabetes they get. Not to mention a lot of other obvious things, like they generally have a healthier BMI, generally report lower stress, higher happiness, those kind of things. But let's focus on heart disease and diabetes right now, because during this pandemic, during COVID-19, the data that's been collected has shown that the majority of cases, especially the cases that unfortunately did not make it, have pre-existing health conditions. If you go to the CDC website, they show that 90% of the deaths unfortunately had pre-existing health conditions, and the most common ones were heart disease, diabetes, and severe obesity. So of course, making the connection, it makes perfect sense, not to mention that plant-based diets have been shown to improve immunity. People who ate plant-based versus a different diet versus a common flu, shorter. There's lots of studies showing specifically immunity, but even without dissecting those, just alone, the absolutely irrefutable information that a plant-based diet can help reverse, stop, and prevent the progression of heart disease and diabetes is enough to think about eating a little bit more plant-based, especially during this time when at the forefront of our minds, we're mostly concerned about, being exposed to COVID-19. I have my little notes. Scroll down just so I don't miss the points. The benefits of a plant-based diet are very much dose dependent. So you don't have to eat 100% plant-based. You don't have to be perfect or nothing. A lot of people are kind of frozen in the next step for what they're going to do because they feel like, oh, if I start moving towards the direction of plant-based, I have to end up eating, all raw vegetables all day, and that's the only endpoint I'm going to reach. But everybody's endpoint is very individual and personal, and any amount that you move towards eating more plants in your life, more plant-based in your life, you're going to reap those benefits. So there's a couple of quotes that I have that I really love, and I forget where I get this one, but I think it was a doctor, one of the famous plant-based doctors, and he said that the 3 most important decisions that you make every day are breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So those are going to be the most impactful decisions that you make all day. And so if, let's say, in the morning you decide to eat something that is not really beneficial for you, let's say you're rushed and you eat something that we all agree is processed, let's say a donut and like a latte with sugar and milk, your body is exposed to toxins straight off the bat. Their body has to mount a response, get rid of the things that are really aggravating and inflammatory, and start working. Your body is working on getting rid of that. And then lunch, let's say you pick something that is a little healthier. Let's say you pick a plant-based lunch. Let's say you get a wrap and it has a couple different types of veggies. It has avocado, it has hummus. I'm going to share a recipe with those exact things later today. And your body doesn't have to sort out anything bad from that. Your body is just getting nourished from that. Your body is getting vitamins, your body is getting fiber. We're not going to get into the nitty-gritty of which parts of a plant-based diet are beneficial, because we don't know everything and we don't need to know every piece of why it's beneficial. We know that big picture, the more plant-based you eat and the less processed food you eat, the more healthy you're going to be, and that applies to cancer and diabetes and heart disease and on and on and on. So you eat that healthy wrap, and so your body goes, oh, okay, I can process this in my own time. There's no problem. I have total ease at doing this. And so now your body gets to focus on recuperating and restoring its most vibrant self in the rest of its body. And so let's say you had, your body's going to work on getting rid of that sugar from the donut. And this is really simplified, but it's just to show that your body has a finite amount of energy, and you want to give your body the opportunity to heal itself and give itself time to heal. So if you're constantly bombarding your body with toxins that it needs to get rid of, then your body's going to be really focused on getting rid of that immediate danger and won't have time to really restore anything deeper or anything else. So even just one meal a day is going to be beneficial. And it sounds like most of the people here are eating mostly plant-based. So that's really amazing. I work in the Bronx, so a lot of my patients are, these days I'm not the first person ever to talk to them about plant-based diets, but when I first started practicing 3 years ago, I was definitely the kooky person in the room, and they would look at me and say, you know, excuse me, what do you mean meat is not good for me? What do you mean I shouldn't be giving my my 3-year-old child 3 glasses of milk a day? But so I'm really lucky to be talking to such a friendly audience, because I'm used to talking to people who are really questioning this, and not people that would really respond well to me giving a bunch of research articles. So I just want to say I'm really grateful that I get such a friendly audience about this. Okay, so we talk about being dose dependent. And I do want to mention that our environment plays a big factor. So most of us didn't grow up getting nutrition in school. For nursing school, we had a requirement of 1 prerequisite nutrition class. We did not have any kind of nutrition education during school. Everything that I have learned and my colleagues have learned have been mostly from looking at research papers outside of school. Even my public health degree, we didn't talk about specifically nutrition. We did talk about preventative programs, but I'm shocked, you know, since the research has been around since the 1930s, that there was no mention of plant-based diets. In addition, our environments, for most of us, are pretty set up for us to kind of choose the bad option. In New York City, I mean, restaurants themselves are just so full of foods that are high in the SOS, the sugar, salt, and oil. And there's a really fantastic book, if you want to go deeper in that subject, called The Pleasure Trap. And this guy just lays it out so nicely, this researcher, about why exactly we are so addicted to fast food and how, you know, the cycle keeps coming, because we will forever enjoy those foods and we will forever be addicted to those foods, even if we wean ourselves off and we don't have them as often. Still, every time you're, you know, given the option, our brains are pre-programmed to pick the highest calorie food, and we are always going to choose the donut over the carrot. So we do have to play a role in changing our environment to help ourselves. Another doctor, this is Dr. McMacken, who is the director of Bellevue's plant-based nutrition program, which is awesome. She's been really helpful with my program at my organization as well. She's quite a pioneer, first New York City city hospital plant-based program. But I was listening to her talk, and she said this quote that everyone knows: willpower lasts until 1 p.m. So just pure willpower is not a good strategy for humans to avoid unhealthy foods. So you really need to modify your environment and assume that you're plan for you needing that backup, because it's really hard to make good choices when we're a little bit stressed, a little bit rushed, or just after 1 p.m. So just a really quick example would be, let's say you have a favorite pastry in a coffee shop, and every time you walk by that coffee shop, you're really tempted by that pastry. So what I would recommend is just walk a different way to work. Avoid that coffee shop, because there's no other way that would really make you not have to make that decision every time you walk by that coffee shop. And sure, there are definitely some people who are super good at controlling themselves and have, you know, their list of motivations like written on the back of their hand, and they're ready and they can do that. But for most of us, it's human nature to see high calorie food and want to eat that food. And if we've developed the habit of walking in there, then we're going to keep doing that. So maybe one day you can walk by it every now and then and just like forget that it was even in there. But generally, that's just an example of someone might think that's like a drastic thing to do, but really when you read The Pleasure Trap, you understand that the odds are kind of against you, and you should do as much as you can to help yourself, since everywhere we go, we have pictures of dripping oil burgers and cheese, and even on the side of Whole Foods right now is a giant block of cheese next to like a melty grilled cheese. We're literally walking by billboards of this everywhere. So help yourself out and you know, structure your environment in a way that helps you make the right choices. The other really obvious way to help yourself is make sure your home is a place of health food. Whatever you have in your home is what you're going to eat. So if your home is full of unhealthy snacks and, you know, freezers full of all sorts of goodies that aren't necessarily the best for you, you're going to end up eating those because they're there. Of course, you bought them, you're going to eat them. So a lot of my patients and clients, and myself included, we try to stock our fridges and pantry with healthy foods that we enjoy too. It's not just like carrots and raw vegetables, it's foods that we like and ingredients to things that we like. But for those extra, those little things that are not necessarily in our, you know, in the plant-based, you know, like vegan cheeses and Beyond Burger, you know, those kind of things, and desserts. We'll buy those just for the day that we want them, or, you know, for a special event, or, you know, in very small quantities and not everything at once, because we just, our willpower, we're not set up to be, it's not a total excuse, but it is, you know, it's a fact. So just understand that willpower is not enough for you to stop you from making the right choice, even if you know all the facts. Let's see, what's our time? Okay, so I'll go into it. Okay, and so the last thing that is a really easy environmental switch, and that I believe a lot of nurses and healthcare professionals struggle with, as well as anyone else who goes to work, is, for example, lunch. So a lot of people, when they talk about going plant-based, they say, you know, change one meal a day, and they focus on breakfast, for example, or they say like meatless Mondays, or they'll do a meatless dinner. I think those are the easiest ones to change, because you're home, you have your kitchen, you are, you know, you have everything. You're not surrounded by options per se, unless you have a very bare bones kitchen, you always order out. But I think lunch is harder. And tell me if you guys think differently. But for me, I work in the Bronx, so, and I think most New York areas are kind of feel like this. Whenever we have catered lunches, they're usually fried, they're usually super processed. We've been getting a lot more catered lunches because of COVID-19, very kind of people to do. However, I haven't had a single one of them because the lunches are like mac and cheese and a burger and, I don't know, meatballs, just things that are not, I just look at them and I need to hold back my criticism, because I get that it's coming from a kind place, but I just can't help thinking that if you guys are trying to help us help the patients, why would you give us foods that are harming us and keeping us from having the immunity to, you know, continue helping others? So not only are the foods in general in healthcare and just in corporate settings, catering is not generally very helpful, but the surrounding options for eating out is also usually fast food. Like I talked about in the Pleasure Trap talks about, restaurants are generally known for having more processed foods. They add a lot more oil, sugar, and salt, keep you coming back, keep you happy. And so generally when you order from a restaurant, it's going to be a little bit more processed. So that's why I wanted to share specifically lunch recipes, because lunch is, I found some recipes that are super easy. They're all less than 30 minutes. Some of them take only 15 minutes to make, and you can make them in bulk. You can make them for dinner, and then you have enough for lunch the next day. But I promise you can do it for the last, and it's probably because my mom never let me buy lunch at school. She always 100% of the time packed me my lunch. So it just feels weird for me to not eat a homemade lunch, but every single day, maybe I've missed 5 days in the 3.5 years I've been practicing. I've never missed a day of bringing my own lunch. So for me, it's just inevitable. Like, I always make my bed, I always make my own lunch. And so it's a habit that fortunately I have, and I think my mom happens to be on this call, but I think it's a really great habit to make. And to get you guys started, I have recorded a video of some recipes. So I did test this video out earlier, and it does lag a little bit, but you can still, I think, see most of it. So hopefully you'll enjoy it. It's on my windowsill in New York City. You could see taxi cabs going by. It was the best lit room in the apartment. So do I have the permissions to share the screen? Let me check it out. Share screen, I do. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. Let me see. Advanced files. Hold on, let me do it this way. Sorry guys, one moment. Okay. Here we go. Now, go back to you guys. Screen, and then video, and then where is this video? Can I go? Oh, here we go. I can just do it this way. All right. Can someone turn off their mute and just tell me that you guys can see this?
Yep.
Yep. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So what's for lunch? And I'm going to talk over it, but there's some cute music. Tell me if it's too loud, but here we go. So first I made a 3-bean salad. So there's my windowsill. So take any 3 cups of any beans you have. I happen to have chickpea, kidney beans, and black beans, and then whatever fresh herb you like. So parsley was the only one in stock when we went in there. So we got parsley, some red onion. That is some Italian seasoning over there, which is my favorite all-purpose seasoning, garlic, avocado, and 2 stalks of celery, and then whatever tomatoes you have. I also love to season stuff with red wine vinegar. So chopped it up, blink of an eye, just like you guys would, and then just add it all together. Super easy. Chopping took like 5 minutes. And again, this is such a modifiable recipe. The general concept is have some beans. Sometimes I add cucumber in there. Definitely red onion. I don't know why red onion just makes it amazing. Whatever fresh herb. You can even use basil in there, or dill would work. Tomatoes, these are just the ones I had. I like anything colorful, so that's why I had those. But you can add whatever tomatoes you like. Just make them a little smaller, dice them. I've even used salsa before. And then there's some celery as well. Now, oil is one of the foods that are a little bit higher calorie and more processed than I really support, and a lot of plant-based doctors don't support oil. If you cook with oil, that's fine. You could just add a little bit, but I don't. So I use red wine vinegar, and then Italian seasoning is my favorite all-purpose seasoning. So I use that to season this salad. That's it. One seasoning you need to buy. And then if you use salt, which I do, add a little bit of salt or to your flavor, to your taste preference, and also a little bit of pepper. And easy as that. You have yourself a bean salad. So easy. Of course, mix it up.
It looks good. It looks really refreshing.
Oh, good. Okay, so you guys can see it. It's a good speed.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. And by the way, I was just going crazy. That eucalyptus over there, I just had got it that day. It smelled so good. So here you go. That's it. Done. That's like 3 lunches right there. And what's great about that salad is it actually gets better. Those tomatoes, kind of the juices come out, and I swear a 3rd day it's even better. So next I made a chickpea and spinach curry. So obviously you need the chickpeas, which I've made in my slow cooker the night before. You can use fresh spinach. I only had frozen spinach, so that's what I used. 1 onion. some diced tomatoes, just 1 can of that. And then any kind of nut milk. So I make my own. I have this thing called an almond cow. So that's an almond milk, and some russet potatoes. And I actually ended up using more milk than that. And then some brown rice that I made on the side. All you need is curry powder, cayenne powder, and garlic powder for this recipe. Again, super easy. You never need a lot of stuff. Chop everything up. So for this, you gotta cook it in a big pot. So you just add the tomatoes, garbanzo beans. This has the potatoes and the onion. And then, so I ended up adding more than this, actually. That's about 2 cups. I think I added 2 more cups, so it was almost over the potato mixture. Just to feel like I like extra sauce in a curry. So, and then I would recommend using half of that bag, but I'm pretty crazy about my greens and I get them in as much as possible. So I actually use the whole thing, and nothing wrong with using a ton of greens. They are an amazing food. But yeah, I would recommend less than that if you want, you know, if this is for kids or something. So that is cilantro and lemon, which I add, parsley and lemon, which I add after, and then brown rice to cook too. I realized after I didn't add the seasoning. So garlic powder, so you don't have to chop up your own garlic. It's about 1 tablespoon. Cayenne powder, based on your spice level preference. I like it spicy, so I added 1 tablespoon too. And then the most important ingredient for curry is curry powder. I have about 3 tablespoons of that. I like the curry flavor and smell to be really strong. And it also has turmeric, which is a really potent anti-inflammatory agent, so I like that. So here's the final product. I added cilantro and lime on top at the end. Sorry, parsley, I keep saying. And so that combo, you can add rice, not add rice, and delicious. Only 2 or 3 meals. Next is an actually filling salad. So I say actually filling because too many times people who aren't plant-based serve you a very meager salad and it doesn't really fill you up. So the components of a filling salad include a mixture of veggies. I always tell people to eat the rainbow, and I literally do eat the rainbow. So there's a bunch of different carrots, peppers, red cabbage, the beans, and a healthy fat. So to make a salad actually fill you up, you need a healthy fat, so avocado would serve that here, and some kind of plant-based protein. So I just added a mix of beans that I had. And that should be enough to keep you full, along with all those healthy carbohydrates from those veggies. Here I use a balsamic vinegar. I prefer that in my salads. And I have quite the collection of vinegars now because I don't use oil. So, and it's very delicious. If you don't, so to actually feel satiated off of the salad, you need to eat half of that. So that's only 2 lunches for me. And if I'm at home, I might even eat 2/3 of that because I can actually carry that around. The biggest reason I don't bring a lunch to work, if I don't bring it, is because I'm biking and I don't have room for a giant Tupperware container. Otherwise, I have a giant salad bowl at work, and I actually assemble salads this big at work for myself too. Next are rainbow veggie wraps. So that is, you take whatever veggies you have. So I happen to have some rainbow chard, a carrot. So hummus, this is actually oil-free hummus. So compared to like Sabra or something like that, this hummus has only 2 grams of fat and is 40 calories. Sabra would have double that per serving. It would have 80 calories, probably like 3 or 4 grams or 5 grams of fat per serving. So that's because of the added oil. So I use a healthier fat, like an avocado, use some red cabbage, and then I just happen to have spinach wraps. You can do whatever wrap you want. Again, the less processed the wrap, the better. So I just look at the ingredients, and hopefully it's mostly flour, and this one happened to have some veggies too. So I do have a little bit of a Julia Child moment here, but so adding in some hummus, I shredded the carrot, chopped up the cabbage. So the trick to having a really tight wrap is that the ingredients have very little air in between them. So that's why the shredded carrot. And if I were to improve on this even further, I would probably shred the red cabbage even more. And actually, when I assemble them for work, I put a reusable version of saran wrap, which is made of beeswax. I have a bunch of these. And I would just wrap it up right after I roll it, wrap the beeswax over the finished wrap so that it's packable. But just for this, I did it entirely open here. But so you'll see, I'm not very good at wrapping and keeping it by itself without the outside. But didn't stop it from being yummy and I think a little bit pretty. This was all filmed on the same day. It just happened to stop, rain, get super dark, and then go back to sun. Filmed it yesterday. New York weather's weird. So I didn't know what to do here, because usually I would just wrap it in the wrap, so I just tried to chop it in half, and it didn't look great, but it's okay. At least you guys can see how yummy it looks like inside. Here's our rainbow wrap. Gonna place that out of the way. And then I made some more. So definitely more ingredients than just one wrap. So, and we actually eat these immediately, my fiance and I, because they're delicious and can't possibly look at them and not want them right away. So, yep. I got a little better at wrapping, but still need some work. If anyone has tips on wrapping burritos, wraps, love to hear them. I was decapitating them because I wanted the insides to be visible. Worked okay. Again, trust me, these are delicious, and you won't even, the hummus tastes exactly like Sabra's hummus, but it has less processed stuff in it, less oil in it. There's a brand at Whole Foods called Engine 2, but I haven't been able to go to Whole Foods because the lines have been so crazy. So I found this other one. It's called like Abraham's or something. Just read the labels, compare it to each other, and find the one that has the least amount of processed stuff in it, or least amount of added fat. So I'm not a chef, so these recipes are very, very easy. And here it is, our finished rainbow wraps. Delicious and just so easy. There's two lunches right there. My last and favorite dinner, which usually we make so much of, there's enough for lunch, is sweet potato saute. So any wilty green will do. Again, I had Swiss chard, so that's what I used. Sweet potatoes, lemon, onion, and garlic. And then some Italian seasoning and paprika, because potatoes and paprika, something about that combo is delicious. That's all you need. Magic, and we get our saute pan. So I do not cook with oil, right? Because I mentioned I don't use oil. So I either cook with water or vegetable broth. So it's called water sauteing, vegetable broth sauteing. So this is a non-stick pan, and I basically coat the bottom like I would oil and add in what I would saute. Sometimes I'll saute on the vegetable broth the onions and garlic first. Here, sometimes I don't. It's fine. Doesn't make a huge difference to me. So I just add potatoes, garlic, and onion, and then I top it with my favorite all-purpose seasoning, which is Italian seasoning, and also that paprika. Gives it a little bit of a smoky flavor. So magically sauteed until it's soft, till the potatoes are soft, and you can keep adding vegetable broth so it doesn't stick. And then you add some protein to make sure it's a filling meal. So just a little like cup of beans. And then any wiltable green will do. Again, I had rainbow charts, so that's what I used. And then you squeeze lemon on it. Now, something about citrus and greens are delicious, but also citrus makes the iron of dark green leafy vegetables more bioavailable, and inversely the vitamin C. So it's actually a perfect combination in flavor and in nutrition. So I put a lid on this and sauteed it until it was all wilted in. And lastly, this is optional, but I also added a little bit of tahini on top. I just felt like I wanted to add that. And there we have it. Very easy, delicious saute. I'd say I have this at least once a week for dinner, and always, I mean, look at that bowl. We always have enough for lunch the next day too. Very easy, smells delicious the next day. Again, another thing that tastes better the next day. So here's everything. We got our rainbow veggie wraps. We got our 3-bean salad, super easy and versatile. We got our chickpea and spinach curry, our actually filling salad, and last but not least, our sweet potato saute with a little extra tahini this time, because I felt like adding that, and it was delicious. If you don't follow me yet, you can find more recipes like that on Nurse Eugenia, my Instagram. So stop share. Okay. Okay, so that was it. Thanks. Do you guys have any questions about anything? That's all I had to share, really. Can you send us that video? Yeah, I wonder if I can actually send it, because it's like a bigger file. But you know what? I think I'm gonna post it on YouTube and just do some like words on it instead of me talking. And so just follow me on Instagram. I'll put my handle in here because it is so cute. So I'll post it on there, and I'll post the link. So I promise I'll do that.
Cool. And we can repost it on our website as well.
Oh, awesome. Thank you.
I put the rest of your contact information on the chat.
Oh, well. Yeah, you did. Thank you. Perfect. It's already on there. Great.
I never thought about sauteing with water and vegetable broth. So thank you for sharing that tip. That's really awesome. Really good.
Yeah. Oil-free cooking is definitely the newest thing that I've learned being vegan. So plant-based. So I've been technically vegan for I think it'll be 5 years this month. But I've only been plant-based for 2.5 years. So I really was eating more processed food. I mean, I was not eating only burgers and fries, but I definitely finally made the plunge, because to me, not cooking with oil was, like, I think for a lot of people, really scary, and I have no idea where to start. And it's not like my family was cooking this way or anyone I knew was cooking this way, even though the doctors and the books were saying you should reduce oil, salt, and sugar. As you can see, I didn't reduce all of my salt yet. Oh, I forgot to mention one other thing about salt is, so our taste receptors on our tongue that taste something salty are positioned in a way that it makes most sense to salt your food at the end of your meal, because the salt kind of dissolves and the flavor isn't so prevalent while you're cooking. So if you do add salt, adding it at the very end will give you the most bang for your buck while reducing the amount of sodium in your entire meal. So yeah, but oil-free cooking, so many resources. Forks Over Knives has a lot of tips too. I know they have a whole page on how to cook without oil, but it's I'd say majority of plant-based doctors very much recommend cooking without oil, but I do still see some nutritionists recommending oil. I don't think it's necessary, but you can definitely incorporate it in small amounts and still be healthy. There's, for example, just one thing off the top of my head, I know that fresh tomatoes and olive oil, that combo, you get certain nutrients from tomatoes that you wouldn't get quite as well without olive oil. So I don't stay away from that like I stay away from processed meats, for example, but it's not something I use day to day.
Yeah.
Thank you. That was amazing. I love how easy it is, how you put everything in one pot, like all at once. Like that's
Yes.
really nice. Yeah.
The less dishes, the better, too.
Do you have any other tips for the filling salad, the healthy fats, like other than avocado? Is there any other things you put in your salads to make them?
Yeah, so
filling?
so avocado is definitely my favorite, obviously, and it's the easiest thing to get. But nuts are definitely extremely healthy and nutritious also. So especially for women, since it's all women here, flax seeds are especially nutritious, especially for hormone balancing. By the way, generally plant-based, low-fat, like what I was talking about, is extremely good for women's hormones too. So definitely you can add some walnuts, some toasted almonds. Yeah, I'm sure, Janelle, do you already do that now? You add some nuts to your salads? Yeah, so it's super healthy. And also for dressings, there's a lot of, that's a little bit more complicated. I was just trying to be as easy as possible, but you can easily, instead of an avocado, blend in some kind of nut-based dressing and top your salad with that. And there is your added fat and a healthier added fat.
Awesome. Thank you.
No problem.
Does anyone else have any questions or comments? Actually, Eugenia, I was wondering what you think of like coconut oil. Some people like really like it. Some people are saying no.
So coconut oil is compared to any other oil, it increases your triglycerides more. So it is definitely not a food I recommend even in moderation because of that. So yeah, the studies have just been like piling up on that. So it sucks because it was promoted by like such a healthy food, and people, I'm not sure how, if it should be applied to your skin. I know sometimes it clogs pores too, but I know people who will bathe in it. They have their morning breakfast with it. They'll apply it on their skin. They put it in their coffee, like everything. But I know that for ingestion purposes, I wouldn't recommend, because just using research alone, it does seem to be spiking your triglycerides more than any other types of oil.
What about avocado oil?
So in general, oil. So why do I say olive oil isn't a health promoting food? It's because it's a level processed. So olives are incredibly healthy, and all the health attributes that we give to olive oil are what olives themselves deserve. So anything that is transferred to an oil is going to be digested differently. Same as why a whole grain, like let's say brown rice, is going to be digested differently than rice flour, because the removal of the fiber and the breakdown of the components of that food get digested differently and turn on different hormone and endocrine pathways in us than eating the whole food. So without needing to understand the whole science, because you could definitely read up on this, but generally the more the food looks like what it came out of the ground in, the more appropriate that form is for your body to digest. So generally I tell people just put all oils into the sometimes category and eat the foods that those oils are made of, because any health promoting benefits that those food labels have, the food that it was made from originally has those attributes as well.
Thank you so much, Eugenia. Just very inspiring to see lots of veggies. So just looking at it makes me want to eat more veggies.
Oh, good.
Rainbow too of colors. So thank you
awesome.
so much for sharing
No problem.
and your wisdom.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Eugenia. It's beautiful how you make eating healthy so easy and fun and beautiful and tasty. I really want to eat all of those things right now. I can't wait to see them on your Instagram. I'll be following.
Awesome.